Have you ever ignored swollen ankles because you thought you'd just been on your feet too long, or dismissed feeling tired as just part of getting older? What if I told you that these seemingly minor changes could be your heart's way of crying out for help, and that recognizing them early could literally save your life? Hello, friends. Today we're going to talk about something that affects millions of people over 60, yet often goes unnoticed until it becomes a serious emergency. We're going to explore 6 hidden warning signs of early heart failure that doctors specifically look for, but that many people miss or dismiss as normal aging. These aren't the dramatic symptoms you see in movies, where someone clutches their chest and collapses. These are subtle, everyday changes that whisper rather than shout, but their message is just as urgent. Heart failure is a condition where your heart can't pump blood as efficiently as your body needs. It doesn't mean your heart has stopped working entirely, but it does mean it's struggling. The remarkable thing is that your body sends clear signals when this is happening, but these signals are easy to overlook or misinterpret. The good news, and this is so important to understand, is that catching these signs early can make an enormous difference. Early detection allows for treatment that can slow the progression of heart failure, prevent hospitalizations, and help you maintain your independence and quality of life for years to come. So let's dive into these 6 hidden signs, understand what they really mean, and learn what you can do if you recognize them in yourself or someone you love. The first hidden sign is unexpected swelling in your feet and ankles. Now, I know what you're thinking. Swelling in the feet is common, especially after a long day or if you've eaten something salty. But the swelling I'm talking about is different. This is swelling that appears or worsens gradually over days or weeks. It's swelling that doesn't go away after you elevate your feet for a while. It's swelling that leaves an indentation when you press your finger into your ankle and hold it there for a few seconds. This is called pitting edema, and it's one of the earliest signs that your heart isn't pumping blood efficiently. Here's what's happening inside your body. When your heart's pumping power weakens, blood doesn't circulate as effectively through your system. This causes blood to back up in your veins, particularly in your legs and feet, because gravity pulls fluid downward. As pressure builds in these blood vessels, fluid begins to leak out into the surrounding tissues. This is why your ankles and feet swell. Sometimes this swelling can extend up your calves and even into your thighs if it's more advanced. The reason this sign is so often missed is that it develops gradually and usually doesn't hurt. You might notice your shoes feel tighter at the end of the day. You might see sock marks on your ankles that seem deeper than usual. You might notice your ankles look puffy when you're getting ready for bed. Many people assume it's just from sitting too long or standing too much or eating salty food. And sometimes those are the causes. But when swelling becomes persistent, when it's there day after day and getting worse, that's when it's time to pay attention. I remember speaking with a woman named Eleanor, who's 73 years old. She'd noticed her ankles were swollen for several weeks but didn't think much of it. She figured it was just part of getting older. But then her daughter visited and immediately noticed how swollen her mother's legs were. She insisted Eleanor see a doctor. It turned out Eleanor was in the early stages of heart failure. Thanks to her daughter's observation and insistence, Eleanor started treatment early. Her doctors adjusted her medications, modified her diet to reduce sodium, and taught her to monitor her symptoms. Eleanor's swelling improved dramatically, and more importantly, they caught her heart condition before it became a crisis. The second hidden sign is sudden, unexplained weight gain over just a few days. I'm not talking about the gradual weight gain from eating too much or not exercising enough. I'm talking about gaining 3 pounds or more in a single day, or 5 pounds or more in a week, without any change in your eating habits. This kind of rapid weight gain is almost always fluid retention, and it's a red flag for heart problems. Why does this happen? When your heart isn't pumping effectively, your kidneys don't receive enough blood flow to function properly. As a result, they don't remove excess fluid and sodium from your body as they should. This fluid accumulates in your tissues, and it shows up on the scale. The tricky part is that you might not see this fluid retention as obvious swelling at first. It can be hiding inside your body, accumulating around your organs, in your abdomen, or throughout your tissues before you notice external swelling. This is why doctors who treat heart failure patients always emphasize the importance of weighing yourself every single day at the same time, preferably first thing in the morning after using the bathroom and before eating breakfast. Keep a written record of these daily weights. If you see a sudden jump, that's your early warning system telling you that something is wrong. It's your opportunity to call your doctor before the problem becomes severe enough to land you in the hospital. I know a gentleman named Frank who's 68. He was religious about weighing himself every morning after his doctor explained how important it was for monitoring his heart condition. One week, he noticed he'd gained 4 pounds in 3 days. He hadn't changed his eating habits. He didn't feel particularly different. But he remembered what his doctor had said, so he called the office right away. His doctor had him come in that same day, adjusted his diuretic medication to help remove the excess fluid, and potentially prevented what could have become a serious episode of worsening heart failure. Frank told me that his bathroom scale became his best friend, his early warning system that helped him stay out of the hospital. The third hidden sign is worsening shortness of breath, particularly at night or when lying down. This symptom has a medical name, orthopnea. It's one of the most telling signs of heart failure, yet people often don't recognize it for what it is. You might find yourself waking up at night gasping for air or feeling like you can't catch your breath. You might discover you need 2 or 3 pillows to sleep comfortably when one used to be enough. You might feel short of breath after climbing just a few stairs or even walking from one room to another. What's happening is this. When your heart can't pump blood efficiently, fluid backs up into your lungs. During the day when you're upright, gravity helps keep some of this fluid in your lower body. But when you lie down at night, that fluid redistributes throughout your body, including into your lungs. This makes it harder to breathe and is why many people with heart failure feel worse at night. The medical term for waking up short of breath is paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, and it's a classic sign of heart failure that should never be ignored. Some people try to rationalize this symptom. They think maybe they're just out of shape, or maybe it's asthma, or maybe they've gained some weight and it's making breathing harder. While those things can contribute, if you're experiencing progressive shortness of breath, especially if it's worse at night or when lying flat, you need to talk to your doctor right away. This isn't something to wait and see about. Fluid in your lungs is serious and needs prompt medical attention. I spoke with a man named William, who's 75. He'd been sleeping in his recliner for almost 2 months because he couldn't breathe well lying flat in bed. He thought maybe he'd developed a respiratory problem or allergies. His wife finally convinced him to see his doctor, who immediately recognized this as a sign of heart failure. Tests confirmed his heart's pumping function had declined. With proper medication and monitoring, William was able to sleep in his bed again within a few weeks. He told me he couldn't believe how much better he felt once his breathing improved, and he wished he hadn't waited so long to get help. The fourth hidden sign is persistent, unusual fatigue and weakness, especially with routine activities that never used to tire you out. This isn't the normal tiredness you feel after a busy day or after not sleeping well. This is profound exhaustion that doesn't improve much with rest. You might feel too tired to do simple tasks like making your bed or preparing a meal. Activities that were once easy, like walking to the mailbox or taking a shower, might leave you feeling completely drained. This happens because your weakened heart isn't pumping enough oxygen-rich blood to your muscles and organs. Your body is essentially running on a reduced fuel supply. Think of it like trying to run a car on half the gas it needs. Everything becomes harder and takes more effort. Your muscles don't have the oxygen and nutrients they need to function efficiently, so they fatigue quickly. Your brain doesn't get optimal blood flow, which can make concentration difficult and add to the feeling of exhaustion. The insidious thing about this symptom is that it develops so gradually that many people adapt to it without realizing how much their energy has declined. They start doing less without consciously deciding to. They stop taking walks. They give up hobbies. They spend more time sitting or lying down. Friends and family might comment that they seem less active, but the person experiencing it often attributes it to just getting older. I remember a woman named Dorothy who's 71. She used to be very active, volunteering at her church, tending her garden, and babysitting her grandchildren regularly. Over about 6 months, she found herself declining invitations and giving up activities. She told everyone she was just slowing down with age, but her sister noticed something was wrong. Dorothy seemed exhausted all the time and moved slowly, like everything was an effort. Her sister drove her to the doctor despite Dorothy's protests that nothing was wrong. Blood tests and imaging revealed heart failure. Once Dorothy started treatment, her energy gradually returned. She told me later that she hadn't realized how bad she'd felt until she started feeling better. The fatigue had crept up so slowly that she'd accepted it as her new normal. The fifth hidden sign is a persistent cough or wheezing that won't go away. This surprises many people because they don't associate coughing with heart problems. They think of it as a respiratory symptom, something related to a cold, allergies, or asthma. But a cardiac cough is different. It's often worse at night or when lying down, just like the breathing difficulties we discussed earlier. The cough might be dry and hacking, or it might produce white or pink-tinged mucus, which is particularly concerning because that pink color indicates blood-tinged fluid from your lungs. This cough happens for the same reason as the nighttime breathing problems. Fluid backing up into your lungs. Your lungs become congested with fluid, and your body tries to clear them by coughing. Sometimes there's also wheezing, that whistling sound when you breathe, that's usually associated with asthma. In heart failure, it's sometimes called cardiac asthma because the symptoms are similar, but the cause is your heart rather than your airways. The danger is that this symptom is so easily misattributed to other causes. People try cough medicine, allergy pills, or inhalers, but nothing helps because they're not treating the real problem. Meanwhile, the underlying heart failure continues to worsen. If you have a cough that's lasted more than a few weeks, especially if it's worse at night or accompanied by any other symptoms we're discussing today, you need to see your doctor and specifically mention the possibility of heart-related causes. I know a man named Arthur who's 79. He had what he called a smoker's cough, even though he'd quit smoking 30 years earlier. The cough had been going on for months, and he'd tried every over-the-counter cough medicine available. Nothing worked. His wife finally insisted he see a doctor about it. His physician listened carefully to the description of the cough, heard it was worse at night, and immediately ordered tests for heart failure. Sure enough, Arthur's heart function had declined. The cough wasn't from his lungs at all. It was from fluid congestion caused by his weakening heart. With proper heart failure treatment, the cough that had plagued him for months finally resolved. Arthur wishes he'd mentioned it to his doctor much sooner instead of trying to treat it himself. The sixth and final hidden sign is loss of appetite accompanied by nausea or a feeling of fullness after eating very little. This one surprises almost everyone because we don't typically think of digestive symptoms as being related to heart problems, but there's a clear connection. When your heart isn't pumping efficiently, blood flow to all your organs decreases, including your digestive system. Additionally, fluid can accumulate in your abdomen and around your liver and intestines, a condition called ascites. This creates pressure and discomfort that reduces your appetite. You might sit down to a meal and feel full after just a few bites. You might experience nausea, especially in the mornings or after eating. You might have a persistent feeling of bloating or discomfort in your abdomen. Some people describe it as feeling stuffed even though they haven't eaten much. Over time, this can lead to unintentional weight loss and malnutrition, which further weakens your body and makes everything worse. The challenge with this symptom is that there are many possible causes for appetite loss and digestive discomfort, especially as we age. Medications can affect appetite. Depression can reduce interest in food. Dental problems can make eating difficult. So when someone experiences these symptoms, heart failure might not be the first thing that comes to mind. But when appetite loss occurs along with any of the other symptoms we've discussed, swelling, weight gain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or persistent cough, the combination should raise serious concerns about heart function. I spoke with a woman named Betty who's 82 years old. Over several months, she found she just wasn't interested in food anymore. She'd make herself eat a little bit, but nothing tasted good, and she felt uncomfortably full almost immediately. She lost about 15 pounds without trying. Her family was worried, but thought maybe she was depressed or that her medications needed adjusting. It wasn't until she mentioned feeling short of breath and noticing swollen ankles that her doctor put the pieces together and diagnosed heart failure. The fluid buildup in her abdomen had been pressing on her stomach and intestines, causing the appetite problems. With treatment for her heart condition, Betty's appetite gradually improved, and she was able to regain some of the weight she'd lost. Now, here's what's so crucial to understand about all 6 of these signs. Individually, each one might have other explanations, But when you start seeing multiple signs together, when swelling appears along with fatigue, when shortness of breath combines with sudden weight gain, when a persistent cough occurs with appetite loss, that's when the picture becomes much clearer. These signs aren't random. They're all different ways your body is telling you the same story. Your heart is struggling, and it needs help. The empowering part of this knowledge is that you don't have to be a doctor to notice these changes. You know your body better than anyone else. You know what's normal for you and what's different. The key is paying attention and not dismissing changes as just part of aging or nothing to worry about. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong or different, it deserves attention. If you recognize one or more of these signs in yourself, what should you do? First, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. Make an appointment with your doctor as soon as possible. Write down all your symptoms, when they started, and how they've changed over time. Be specific. Instead of saying you're tired, explain that you used to be able to walk around the grocery store, but now you're exhausted halfway through. Instead of saying you have swollen ankles, explain that your shoes don't fit by evening and the swelling doesn't go away overnight anymore. Second, start monitoring yourself daily. Weigh yourself every morning at the same time and write it down. Check your ankles for swelling. Pay attention to your breathing, especially at night. Keep track of your energy level and appetite. This information will be invaluable to your doctor in understanding what's happening and how quickly it's changing. Third, be an active participant in your healthcare. Ask questions. Make sure you understand your diagnosis and treatment plan. If something isn't clear, ask your doctor to explain it differently. If a medication causes side effects, report them. If a treatment isn't working, speak up. You are the expert on your own body, and your observations and experiences are critical information. Heart failure is a serious condition, but it's also a manageable one, especially when caught early. Modern treatments, including medications, lifestyle modifications, and in some cases devices or procedures, can significantly improve heart function, reduce symptoms, and enhance quality of life. People with heart failure can live active, fulfilling lives for many years with proper care and management. The 6 signs we've discussed today, swelling in your feet and ankles, sudden unexplained weight gain, worsening shortness of breath, especially at night, persistent unusual fatigue, a lingering cough or wheeze, and loss of appetite with nausea, are your early warning system. They're your body's way of asking for help before a crisis occurs. Recognizing them and acting on them can be the difference between managing a chronic condition and facing repeated hospitalizations or worse. So here's what I want you to do right now. First, take a moment to honestly assess whether you're experiencing any of these 6 signs. If you are, commit to calling your doctor tomorrow. Don't wait. Don't convince yourself it's nothing. Your health and your life are too important. Second, if you have aging parents or loved ones, think about whether they might be showing any of these signs. Sometimes family members notice changes that the person experiencing them has gradually adapted to and no longer recognizes. Have a gentle, caring conversation. Offer to help them make a doctor's appointment or even go with them. Third, share this information. Talk about it with your friends. Share it with your family. You never know whose life you might save by helping them recognize these warning signs in themselves or someone they love. Your heart works tirelessly every moment of every day, beating over 100,000 times daily to keep you alive. When it starts to struggle, it deserves your attention and care. Listen to what your body is telling you through these 6 hidden signs. Take them seriously. Act on them promptly. And give yourself the gift of early detection and treatment that can preserve your health, your independence, and your quality of life for years to come. Knowledge is power. And now you have the knowledge to protect your heart and your future.